Hey guys, Brian here for Better Chess Training. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the three levels of planning with regards to your chess improvement. Kind of adapting this from some business management material that I've come across over the years, but I think it can help you when it comes to looking at what you're doing to improve chess and where things may be breaking down. Okay? So let's take a look. Here are the three levels. The first one is strategic. That is sort of the big picture view, I guess, or why, what we're doing. The tactical is what we're going to do in terms of trying to implement the strategy, and the operational is how are we doing and what are we doing. Not sure if that's exactly the perfect way of putting it, but that's what we're going to talk about here today. And let's get right into it. Let's talk about the strategic level. So, this is the big picture. And the question you're trying to answer is, what do I have to do to improve? Now, some of these answers are chess related. So, I need to improve my opening repertoire, or I need to choose a different opening. I need to get better at the middle game, or I need to get better at these middle game structures, or I need to get better at tactics and calculation. Um, some of them may be more of performance. I get nervous. I need to practice meditation or deep breathing. Maybe I need to get more sleep. And so that these types of things, these are kind of the big arching strategies that will help you to improve at chess. Ways to improve at this level is by talking to coaches. If what should I be doing outside of our lessons to improve? Talking to other players. For example, if you know someone who's good at tactics and you need to get better at tactics, ask them what they do. Okay, so also self-awareness, so analyzing your games. So this is sort of like the direction you take on things. Maybe you need to emphasize one area over the other. That is a strategic decision. And of course, errors would be the wrong using the wrong strategy. So, for example, if you decide to spend too much time in your openings, but if I were to analyze, your last 20 games and find out that you are always doing okay in the opening, well, maybe you don't need to emphasize that much your plan. Maybe you're when you get to the end game, you're losing a lot of points there, and more there. And again, that's where talking to a coach or making sure you're analyzing your game and cataloging where you're having the most trouble will help you with these strategic decisions. Now, once you've decided on some various strategies on how to improve, then we move on to the tactical level. Let's go there, talk about that now. The tactical level is the implementation of the strategy. What does improving my tactics look like? What does learning the Sicilian defense, what does that look like? What resources are? How are you going to practice it? This is the implementation phase. For example, if you're, as I mentioned before, in terms of performance, if you are going to maybe you want to get more sleep, well, are you going to set up a bedtime routine? That type of thing. So, ways to improve this. Part of it is experimentation. I spelled that wrong in the slide, but experimentation and maybe getting recommendations from a coach or maybe other players and other people that you trust. Example of this has been I'll use an example for myself, trying to improve my calculation. I realized that I was just doing tactics from the chess servers, but those have certain types of problems. So I added endgame studies, which also have a certain type of problem and a different way of calculating, as well as a couple chessable courses, which gave me different types of problems. So I was having a more well-rounded method of studying tactics and improving my calculation. Some of the errors that there, of course, are poor method. For example, when it comes to studying tactics, are you using a notebook to write down your answers and then looking at what your answers are? Or are you just quickly trying to guess? So one way a little bit better in terms of improving your calculation. The other way maybe is easier, but maybe not as effective. And the other one would be outdated resources. And this would be in the case of, say, opening study. Might get an old book that maybe some of the lines are not as effective anymore. Maybe there's other openings. I was looking at uh, studying the Sicilian defense. I had an old book on the Sicilian defense, and it barely covers some of the more modern ways to handle it. Or another one would be the Spanish. I looked up an old book in the Spanish from the library, the Roy Lopez, and I borrowed a book from a friend. And one of the main ways of tackling it, Berlin, was not very popular in that book. So very lacked a lot of depth in that area, and I had to look elsewhere. So the tactical level is how you implement it. You want to look to see if you're doing that in the best way. Now, of course, none of this makes any uh, sense unless you're actually doing the work. That's where the operational level comes in. The uh, the question: am I doing the tactics as effectively as possible? So areas here would include: um, are you doing it consistently? Are you getting the time in? Maybe you need to make different arrangements. For example, I get up about an hour before my kids do. So that way I know I have an hour of uninterrupted time chess study. But before I did that, I was trying to squeeze things in, and then I was having, I wasn't spending quality time with my kids. And that's just an example of operational level. You can have a great strategy for improving. In fact, I know many of you do. You have the right materials and resources, methods all ready to go. But maybe you need to learn to organize your time better with regard to your other responsibilities, such as work. That's something that I've had to do. A couple tools I use, for example, is making sure my calendar is very organized. So I know I have this time to do my work. I have this time to do chess. I have this time to spend with my kids and my wife, and everything is balanced as much as possible while still getting some of that quality time in chess. Another error is perfectionism. I think some people want to have the perfect plan, and so they don't execute on with the time they do have. And I've fallen into this too, especially in the area of, for example, exercise. Whereas before I said, well, I need 90 minutes so I can warm up and then I can go to the gym, lift weights, and then cardio. And so now I do try to structure things, but sometimes I only have 10, 15 minutes, and maybe I'm just going to do some push ups. Or with regard to chess training, I only have 20 minutes today because my work schedule is very busy. So maybe I just do some tactics problems, or maybe I get some analysis done on my game. So don't let perfectionism, having the perfect setup, interfere with your operational ability to do some positive work towards your chess. And the other one is indecision. That one is uh, you are trying to figure out what you want to do. That's where you need to organize yourself. You need to prioritize yourself. So let's go back just to review these areas before we close out today. Uh, from the strategic level, you want to make sure that you're doing or you're planning to do the right things to improve your chess. And you want to ask yourself this question: is this the best thing I can be doing to improve my chess? The tactical level then goes to, well, what does that look like? And what methods am I going to use? What materials or resources am I going to use to do that? Up some YouTube videos to improve a certain opening. I mean, it could be a combination of things. Tactical builds from the strategic, finding the operational. That's the ground level. That's where you're actually getting it done day by day, doing it consistently. That's where areas of being able to manage your time and manage your activities is most important. So, in closing, I hope that by looking at these things from these three levels, you can have a little more confidence in how you're moving forward. Because maybe your lack of progress or your lack of a feeling of progress has to do with a breakdown at one of these levels. Maybe you have a great strategy in place, and maybe you're very organized, but maybe you need to get a different book about the topic, or maybe you need to maybe you need to buy a notebook in order to do things from a tactical level. Maybe you're great with strategy. You're working with a coach, and they're telling you do X, Y, and Z, and you have that all lined up. But maybe you have some procrastination issues, maybe some time management issues, and so you're not finding time during the day to do those things. Or from a strategic level, maybe you are focusing all of your efforts in the wrong areas. Or maybe you are, as I'm, maybe you're doing tactics all the time, and you're really great at tactics, but you end up getting a bad position after the first 5 moves. And maybe you need to work on your opening repertoire just to turn it around, because a lot of people probably study their opening more than they necessarily need. Uh, in any case, wherever that breakdown is, by being able to identify it, you're going to be able to. So, hope that helped, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you soon.